Hey folks, Ty Cohen here, and we're back with another amazing interview. As you guys know, from week to week, I like to bring you, I think, some of the smartest, brightest people that you can learn from, people that not only I admire, but that I'm good friends with, people that I follow in the industry, and people that I trust to be able to bring to you so that you can kind of pick their brain and see how they think and then get results similar to what they're getting. So today I've got someone who I've known forever. I think Sean, I was trying to think about this, like how long have we kind of known each other?
It's got to be at least a decade.
That's what I thought.
I mean, you know, we're old school soldiers in this industry, and it's funny how we've all grown up. You know, we started off in the same kind of pond and pool, and then we kind of evolved our businesses and done some amazing things over the years.
Yep, and that's what I was thinking. It's got to be at least a decade. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I've got a good friend of mine, Sean Donahoe, on, and we're going to talk about everything under the sun, including how do you scale your businesses. So regardless of what type of business you're in, right? Some of you guys are Kindle publishers. Some of you are just digital publishers in the traditional IM space, right? Some of you may be digital real estate property owners. You guys know I talk about digital real estate all the time, as well as physical property. You guys know that I invest in physical property, and my guest Sean does as well. So we might be able to jump into some of that also. Now, before we get started, here's what I want you to do. I want you to be so tuned in into this thing that you take some actions. If you're not currently a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe. And I'm kind of gonna bribe you to subscribe. So as you know, we always give away some pretty cool prizes. This week we've got some Apple AirPods. These are actually the Pros. We have an Apple Watch, right? If you guys can see that. We actually just sent out 3 sets of the AirPods this week, and we sent out one of these bad boys. So we've got 2 MacBook Airs. We have this space gray one, and then we've got a rose gold one. This is actually the same laptop that I have. My wife thought it was kind of interesting, but I would get a rose gold color. But hey,
you're not playing around. That's some pretty decent damn swag there.
There you go. And so there's 4 ways that you guys can enter to win, right? The first way is going in and subscribing to the podcast if you're listening to this on the podcast, or to the YouTube channel if you're watching me and Sean and our beautiful faces right now here on YouTube. The second way is go in and comment, all right? You learn by listening. I want you to listen to this conversation and comment as to what your biggest takeaways were, all right? Comment. Every time you comment, you'll be entered to win. The third way is to go in and like, whether you're watching the podcast or listening to the podcast, I should say, or watching the YouTube channel, go ahead and like this video. And then the fourth way is to share it. So now, with that said, I'm going to bring on the man of the hour, Mr. Sean Donahoe. Sean, you got started with internet marketing, if I'm not mistaken, in 1997. I've kind of went back and
I was going to say, you went back in the archives to find that out. Yeah, I've been doing this a long number of years now, yeah.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, you didn't start out as this beast, right? This master of just being able to really get into different segments and different areas and really grow and explode. Because most people have a hard time mastering one area. But if I know about you, right, the one thing I do know is that you'll go into one pocket, you'll really research it, you'll understand it, and then you'll just like totally blow it out the water. Did you start out like that? Like, what was your background before getting involved with internet marketing?
Well, I'll give you the down and dirty quick version. I came over here, yeah, I mean, it's been 1997 now. When I started off in the UK, I started a consultancy business right out of school. I worked a few different jobs to fund business because I know I needed capital and stuff like that. So I started off coming out of school, building computers privately for individuals, and then started for companies. And then that turned and evolved into a consultancy company in the IT industry for businesses. And then when I came over here, started basically just half a suitcase with everything by the time I liquidated everything. Had a few issues, bankruptcy, business issues, shall we say, that were complications I won't go in. Well, basically, I found out I did a big contract, leveraged the hell out of everything, found out that they wanted to back out of a contract and had a lot more lawyers than I could afford. which means I lost everything. It was reset. So I sold everything off, cleared all my debts, had to file bankruptcy. I lost everything. And I said, well, screw this. Clean slate protocol. I came over to the United States, set up again. They couldn't take away what was in my head. Started again with the consultancy business, grew that, worked with in Manhattan, Connecticut, Boston, and everything else. Ended up consulting with some Fortune 500 companies with some very nice contacts I had made. And doing the IT side of things, this was really when the internet was really taking off. And all of these businesses were focused on what I call the Madison Avenue mindset, which is dancing monkeys on the screen, television. This whole internet thing is a fad. And this was right during the dot-com bubble. So while it was taking off, I was seeing the opportunity for really the next evolution of business. And I thought, well, why am I working for all these guys who are paying me pennies? I need to start getting me some of this. I need to start figuring out the technologies, the systems, and the processes that are going to take this to the next level. So we started, I met my then future wife, got a couple of correlated jobs going, because that's how I met my wife. Was she wanted someone who could program satellite systems.
Very cool. Wow.
Completely nerd thing, but if you've got OnStar in your vehicle, well, this was before OnStar.
Yeah.
And it was for tracking cargo, which you needed someone that, for a contract, for a online application, that could take all the data from that and put it on the screen. So, yeah, long story short, we got together. It was all cool. But we realized there's a lot of money in building websites and online applications and stuff like that. So I got into e-commerce. That's where e-commerce before it was cool.
Right.
And before Amazon. And we were building e-commerce websites, handling millions of products. We actually built a couple of Amazon competitors back in the day and got paid an absolute metric ton of money for it. And we were doing agencies before agencies were cool. We had no idea we'd started an agency. And we built up to a multi-million-dollar company. And then from there, funnily enough, a lot of the skills that I applied to other businesses and clients, we had 70 plus clients at one stage.
Very cool.
I realized very quickly that I'm being asked the same questions again and again. I'm being asked how to build businesses online again and again. And I've got all this wealth of knowledge and experience because I've been doing it for multi-million-dollar companies and Fortune 500s and what have you, that I got asked, can you teach us this? Can you teach our company how to do this? Can you do? So I started packaging up my knowledge, not knowing anything about building courses and programs. I'm just like, look, here's what I do, and pay me for doing it. And I realized I built it once and I could sell it again and again and again and again and again. And I could keep charging. Oh, I'll charge 47. I wonder if they'll pay 97. I wonder if they pay 499. I wonder if they'll pay $5,000. I wonder if they'll pay 10 grand. And I started realizing, it's like, holy crap, I'm onto something here. And along, a couple of other things going on in the background, I ended up firing all of my clients. Yeah. I ended up basically at one stage burning out because I had 70 plus clients in a big business and I never slept, never saw my family. I'm like, screw this. What kind of life have I built for myself here? I've kind of, got stuck in that whole hustle and grind BS that a lot of people talk about.
Oh, yeah.
And I realized I need some freedom. I'm making all this money, but if I've got no time to enjoy it, what the hell am I doing? So scrap that, fired 70 plus clients, millions of dollars in revenue gone, but I ended up with freedom. And now I could focus on something different, which is packaging up my knowledge, developing systems and teaching other people at scale and a much wider audience. And then basically gave myself my freedom back and 10x'd my revenue and kept doing it again and again. So allowed me to do a lot more with my free time.
That's a beautiful thing. You dropped so many jewels in just the last couple of minutes, guys. If you have not written down or taken note, there's so many lessons here, regardless of where you're at, right? So the fact that you were able to start with a clean slate, start all over, I think that is something that needs to be pinpointed there, because a lot of people think that, hey, listen, if I don't have the money, if I don't have the resources, or I've gone through a divorce, or I've gone through bankruptcy, that's it. But Sean, you know just as well as I do, like, look, Walt Disney went through a mental breakdown multiple times, right? He went bankrupt multiple times. Some of the planet's most successful people have gone through like these hard, trying times. But as you said, when it's up here, they can't take it.
Everyone talks about, hey, mistakes can crush you and experience.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: every mistake, every failure is a lesson. It's not a mistake, it's a lesson. It's experience, and experience doesn't come from success. It comes from the failures. It's the lessons and hard-won knowledge and education. And the one thing that got me here more than anything else is perseverance, determination, and pure tenacity. A lot of people will back off and take the hit and stay down on the mat. But the secret of success is, you can get knocked down 9 times, get up 10. And every step you take, every effort you put into not only your business, but your life and where you want to be, you just don't let anything stop you. Sure, you can get knocked off course. Excuse my accented French, but shit happens.
Yeah. Man, this is an open show here, so we're going to have some fun with some of the words here.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't get me started. I'll go full Shrek on you here. But at the end of the day is you got to get up, you got to do it. And if you have enough determination to make your dreams and your goals come true, every step in the right direction is the right decision. If it takes you off course, then it might not be the right decision. And, I got knocked down hard, but that allowed me the opportunity to redefine my future and create something new. And clean slate, difficult thing to do, can be pretty scary sometimes, but you do what you can to get where you want to be.
Yeah. I have, listen, you've made millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars, right? I can go on and on and on. And I've got the saying, that is that hustle can't be taught, right? Determination, desire, hustle can't be taught. How do you take the person that wants to build out a business? They might look at yourself, right? They may look at me and they think that this stuff comes easy, but it's because we've had the issues, right? We've had the bankruptcies. Maybe we've had problems with clients. I've had, hundreds of thousands of dollars locked up in merchant accounts and things like that, that at the time I wanted to go and hide under a freaking house somewhere, but I knew that I had to push through. How do you get someone who doesn't have that drive, that hustle, that determination to see that these are the things that they need? Or is it possible?
Well, I'm going to give you a secret. I actually taught this to both my sons. And this is a secret that I talk about in business. It was really the defining moment for me, because like I said, it was a time when I had 70 plus clients, and I realized I built myself into my own prison. Actually, I had a breakdown a little bit myself. It wasn't in terms of a nervous breakdown, but what I did is I got out from behind my desk. It was 11 p.m. at night. It was a late night. I was exhausted. I got up, I took 2 steps, and I collapsed. Bang, hit the deck.
Wow.
Dehydration, adrenal fatigue that caused tachycardia, which if anyone knows, your heart's going a million miles an hour. You're almost like you're having a heart attack, but it was because of the complete dehydration and sudden change in blood pressure. I just hit the deck. They had to put me into a coma, an induced coma for 2 days. I came out of that and recovered. I'm like, holy crap, that was a wake-up call, because I was hustling too hard. I was grinding too hard. And it took a little while to get over that, but I came to a very big realization, and it was the pivotal point of my life, and quite possibly the defining moment for my future was build the business around the life you want. Don't cram don't cram your life around the business you have.
Yes.
And a lot of people a lot of people talk about balance.
Yeah.
But when you put new rules set, when you put a new constraint in, look, this is the lifestyle I want. What do I have to do to make it happen? Because the secret of what we do, we call it being unhustled, but we're not against hard work. We're more, and this is where I know Ty will agree with me, it's about working smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
So defining the life you want. What do you want in your lifestyle? Where do you want your freedom? Where do you want to take vacations when we can travel again? Do you want to have a certain, house or give to charities? What do you want to define as what will make you happy or content? And then use those constraints to then define, well, what business model fits around that? For me, for example, right behind me, I'm a trader. I'm also an investor.
Yeah.
I work with private equity companies. I have my money in different things. Well, guess what? The money I have in the markets, the money I have in investments, those are like my employees, and they're working 24/7 to grow for me. And it takes, for my trading, it takes 30 minutes a day, 40 tops. That fits in with my lifestyle. I have other business interests. I have, what I do in the marketing space and business space. Guess what? I have people working for me that I've managed to acquire over time, and assets that are working for me. So I can be a manager working on my business, not stuck in my business. So, with what Ty teaches with digital real estate, well, guess what? That digital real estate is working for you 24/7, 365. And what you're doing is helping it grow, helping it focus. If you're a digital publisher on Kindle and you've got these assets working for you out there, then you're not the one out there going door to door. Hey, please buy my product. Please buy my product. A lot of people hustle and grind like that.
Yeah.
What you're doing is working a lot smarter. So you can create these virtual assets or digital assets or investments or what have you. But you can design your business around the life you want. And if you budget your time like you do, like a business budget or a business plan, you can then create the kind of like the we call it a trading rule set, but it really is a life rule set where I've got 3 hours a day I can dedicate to business, and I've got all the rest of the time for me. Well, great. What do I want to do? 3 hours, focus that on doing tasks, doing this, doing that. And then, okay, I've got my me time. That's great. Now I feel better. You enjoy life. You can focus on your relationships. You can focus on your kids. You can focus on, like me, playing guitar or nerding out. You can see some of the nerd gear behind me because I am a complete bloody nerd, as everyone knows.
Yeah, he's got a nice setup there.
All right, latest acquisition. I have to, there you go. Giant
nice. Hey, I'm a Boba Fett guy, man. You should see some of the stuff.
I've got a 6-foot Boba Fett in my VR studio through there. My wife bought me the full outfit for going to, if I wanted to go to a Star Wars convention, which I said, well, that's great, but it was designed for a 175-pound guy, and I've got
right.
about 40 pounds to go. Okay. But hey, so he's set up in my other room over there and looks imposing, freaks people out when they walk in the house and like, who the hell is that guy?
Yeah, Boba Fett is the badass, man. When I first saw Star Wars, and I'm dating myself now, but way back in the day, we'll say that, I'm like, that's the guy right there. Forget Luke Skywalker. Darth Vader's okay, but that's the guy right there.
Luke Skywalker's a wimp. I lean more towards the Sith. In fact, okay, I am gonna have to nerd out one more time. It is on.
Let's see. What does he have over here? What does he got?
Sith lightsaber.
I
don't have the blade in it right now, but I do have the Sith lightsaber. So, I'm a complete nerd. But yeah, Boba Fett, badass. Mandalorian season 2 just came out. I'm not getting sponsored plug. So that's what I'm going to be doing with my weekend.
There you go. But that's a beautiful thing, because you and I share a few similarities, right? Listening to your story. Like you, almost very similar. I hustled like a madman. And this was before the whole evergreen webinar thing where you can go in and you can have your webinars run evergreen and you don't even have to be there. Dude, I was doing 3 or 4 webinars a day sometimes. 3 or 4 a day. And right? Someone who has not done a webinar, they may think, oh, it's easy. You're just speaking into a mic. But if you do a webinar for 2 hours, 3 hours, it is exhausting.
It is mentally exhausting, definitely. And one thing that, again, Ty, you may not know, but I actually have about 8 different evergreen webinars I'm running all the time. Now, again, if I had to do that manually, I'd be dead. I used to do like you 2 or 3 a day. And oh my God, it's exhausting because you're putting so much energy into the presentation and stuff like that. It really does pull you. But
and answering the questions and everything, dude, I was at the point where I'm making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, right? But I'm not enjoying it. I'm not having a life, right? And I have sickle cell anemia, something called sickle cell anemia I talk about all the time. And I actually ended up going in a hospital. Now, this was a pivotal point for me, Sean, like you. I'm hustling, working. I ended up going in a hospital. I missed my son Tyler's 10th birthday, right? My wife is big on birthdays. So she does these milestones. She goes all out. So for his 10th birthday, I'm in the hospital. I'm laying in the hospital bed, and they're calling me from my son's birthday party. I'm like, this shit is never happening again. I'm never going to miss one of my kids' birthday parties. Doesn't matter. The money's not worth it. The work is not worth it. I had to reevaluate everything that I was doing right then and at that moment. I took out my phone and I said, coincidentally, it was one of the first iPhones I had gotten. And I opened up the note section. I said, from now on, I will only work on the things that I want to work on, when I want to work, and with the people who I want to work with. Because as you know, when you're doing webinars, you have a lot of affiliate partners, and some of them are not the nicest people. And, it was just a pain in the ass. So that was a gift and a curse for me, going in the hospital, but it totally changed my business. And that's when I got into, creating a lifestyle business, something that allowed me to be around my kids. I got 4 kids and a family, and just enjoying life. Like, dude, me and my wife, we woke up this morning and I looked at her and she looked at me and she says, we're going to go vote early today. Right. So she says, we're going to go vote early today. I said, okay.
We're going to do that right after this podcast, funnily enough. That's funny.
So we went in and did that. And then I'm like, let's go get breakfast. Right. And then we shot the shit for a while. Right. And money's still coming in. So what I want to talk to you about, I know that you are a master of outsourcing. You're a master at leveraging other people's time. You're a master in a good way. Right. You're a master at systems. And that's one of the things that I talk about when it comes to Kindle publishing, when it comes to digital real estate. Like, you have to do the things that you're good at, and even some of the things that you're good at that you don't want to do, you still have to outsource that stuff. So can you talk about that? Like, what are your secrets to outsourcing and leveraging and systems?
That's a great question. And it's one of the foundations of why I am very successful is it's all about the process. Now, one of the things that a lot of people do is they overcomplicate the process. What we want is production line simple, because when you keep it simple, when you've got a simple system that works, you can systematize, you can remove all of the objections, you can remove all the roadblocks and barriers and complications. It's something you can then easily document and then give to someone else.
Right.
I'll use trading as an example. One of the things we do in trading is we want to remove, emotion. We want to remove subjectivity because we want it to make money. And it's the same in business as it is in trading and everything else I do, is we want it to be step by step, do this, then this, if this, then that, kind of simple.
Right.
With trading, we do it as, okay, if this, and this line up, the trade sets up, the trade goes on. We take all the emotion and subjectivity out of it, and then
no attachment.
The markets. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is the same in business. You have a product. Is it a product that's in demand? Great. Okay. Promote that product. Is it converting? Yes. Is it making more than you're spending on promotion? Yes. Well, you have a profitable business. Right. Okay. What's stopping you scaling that? Well, is it your time? Okay, then leverage someone else's time. Create automation. And automation, just so you think, is not just software. If I'm not doing it, it's automated. If I have an employee, a virtual assistant, or software, or any sort of software automation doing it, great.
Very good.
If I'm not doing it, it's automated. So I'll either allocate a virtual assistant, an employee, on tasks. They're very clear on what they have to do. When I can systemize it, I know that any one person can be removed and put someone else in place. I can teach them that and they can be up and running very fast. It's all recorded, documented, go. Prime example of this, just in the last 24 hours, I was doing a training. Actually, I hired someone to learn a new skill with YouTube marketing. It's an area I've done YouTube marketing, I've done videos, I've got ads going, but this person does them at a scale that would scare the crap out of Zuckerberg.
Wow.
And we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars a day he's spending on YouTube ads. So I'm like, okay, dude, what's your secret? And I paid him an absolute metric ton of money to do a consulting with him at scale, to understand exactly what he's doing. It was a lot of bribery, but it worked. And now he's given me an entire blueprint of how to do this. Now, next week, I'm taking 2 employees. I'm going to then tell them, okay, this is what we're going to do as step 1. Boom, 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 boom. And it's all, before I got on with Ty, I was documenting it out. This is our plan.
Right.
To do this, record 20 videos next week. We're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Bullet pointed. Now I'm going to sit down with them. We're going to do it together. But when I'm confident, and this is one thing for a lot of people when you're thinking about assistants or when you're starting a business, it's too easy to micromanage and do everything yourself.
Yes.
Wearing every hat like it's a badge of honor. It's not. It's your biggest hindrance to scale and success. So learn to trust others, give them the process, or trust them to learn a process that you can live with that produces results.
Doesn't have to be 100%, right? Like it doesn't.
It's not perfection. Never go for the A+ certification. C-level work is the rule of 80-20. Get most of the way there. You'll get 80% of your results from 20% of the efforts. Focus on that 20%. You don't have to plan for world domination. You plan for results. And if the results are greater than the effort put in, you have profit. And from there, you can scale up and refine. So,
Yeah.
I mean, just a quick sidebar, and I know that was probably a really long answer.
No, that was
really
beautiful.
Systemization.
Mm-hmm. That was beautiful because you touched on so many different points, right? And I want to talk about once we have a system in place, then I want to go into scaling, right? Because you've got it all right. But going back for a second, there's so many people, and I was a victim of this, right? I don't know if you were a victim of this, but before I was like, no one's going to do it as well as I can,
Absolutely.
I'm the master. I can't have anyone else do it. That was one of my first objections. And then the first thing, which I see so many people suffer from, is I don't have the money to go in and hire someone full scale, right? I don't have, what it's going to cost to hire someone full time. And I think that's the biggest misconception ever, because a lot of the folks that are on my team, I only hire them as needed or for a few hours a week. If I need them for a project that requires 3 or 4 hours, right? Boom, that's it. And I might pay them $100 for that week or $50 for that week or whatever it may be. Now, there's other people on my team that, and as the companies have grown, I'm paying a lot more because their time is there. So how do you overcome that? Those thoughts of, if it has to be done, I have to be the one doing it.
I was looking for the company real quick that we use. Mm-hmm. It's Gen M. If you look them up, if you're wondering about how do I get someone, there is, it's called Gen M. And what they do is they will actually give you a trained college level intern for $49 a month.
Jeez, there's no excuses.
Yeah, I mean, you can I hire people from the Philippines as an example. I can go to onlinejobs.ph. Yeah. I could put in and get 200 applicants for a $300 a month position, which is anywhere from 20 to 40 hours. Yep. Okay. You don't have to hire for someone full time. You can hire them on demand. You can hire them on per project. There's plenty of people on Fiverr. Example, we're doing this podcast here. I have a podcast in the trading space, funnily enough, one of the most popular podcasts in trading. But I have a guy on Fiverr who I sit down, just like we're doing here, and myself and my business partner are talking about the markets. He takes our entire podcast, edits it, gives it the professional audio. He's got an entire studio, $40 a week.
And you're just handing him the file, that's it.
Basically, as soon as we hit stop on the record, it goes to Dropbox. We set up a process for this, funnily enough. As soon as we finish, it automatically goes to Dropbox. He picks it up. He knows it every week, what time it's going to be there. He then puts it into another system. He does all his production, puts it into another system. As soon as it's in that folder, boom, it's distributed everywhere. And again, we set up the automations, we set up the systems, but all it costs me is $40 a week. And that entire system is fully automated. I don't even have to worry about it. All I have to do, just like we're doing here, is press record and then stop when I'm ready. And then all the rest of it is done. So you can get on-demand skill sets. You don't, and to talk to your point, which is very, very important, and I don't want to skim across this, you can't be the master at everything. Despite it being your baby, being a control freak, which I was,
same.
And I wanted to micromanage everything, you should not have to learn every skill set required to run your business. You want to be focused on being a manager, not basically not the guy who's cranking in the engine house, okay? You want to be the guy who's the captain of the ship, not the guy in the engine room stoking the fires.
Yeah.
That's what a crew is for. So go find people who have mastered the skill you need rather than half-assing it yourself and then fractionalizing your time. J.D. Rockefeller said this, and it's really a very true statement. I would rather have 1% of the revenue of 100 people working than 100% of one person. It's very, very important to understand. And when you can let go, because this is the hard part for a lot of people, is when you can let go of control and you can build the systems or the processes or get people to build those systems or processes for you, and they can execute on them. Guess what? You've now got a whole army of people that are profitable working for you, producing results. That profit could be just a result you want. It could be monetary, it could be time freedom, it could be anything. But if you're getting a return on that letting go, then that is as good as an investment.
Yeah, it is. And that time that you recapture is just unheard of, right? Because you can get more money back. You can't get the time. Right? You can never capture that time.
Well, it's absolutely true. And your focus should be on where you do best. I mean, like right now, I work 4 or 5 hours a day. Okay. I'll work longer if I want to, and if I'm in the office for any extended period of time, but I work on average about 4 or 5 hours a day, and I run 10 businesses.
You see, and you see, guys, the thing is though, most successful people that are in a position like that, where they've got multiple businesses, they're not finding like this excess of an extra 40 hours a week, right? They've learned how to manage the hours that they have, but yet they're able to run 3, 4, 5, 10, in your case, 10 businesses. And it's all through leveraging. It's all through automation. It's all through the systems, right? And being
it's exactly what you teach and talk to your students about, which is assets.
Yeah.
I buy and acquire and build assets, and I want to take myself out of those assets so they can run without me. I buy businesses, I fund businesses, we do M&A and like growth capital and stuff like that. And I'm working right now on funnily enough, it started off as a $5 million deal, could actually turn into a $100 million deal.
Nice.
And we're working on rolling up some businesses and things like that, but they don't need me. What they need is my vision, my skills, and my foresight, but they don't need me to produce me money. Once they're set up and done and they're rolling, they pay me every month. And all I have to do is turn up once or twice a month just to make sure the ship is going in the right direction and that there's no need for a course correction. That is the same as digital. That's at big scale. I mean, we're talking $5 to $100 million companies.
Right.
But what for a lot of the people listening, you're doing that with your digital real estate.
Yeah.
That is an asset that should, once it's set up and running, is set and forget, or just needs a push, whether you're doing it or someone else is doing it on your behalf. Or if you have a project manager, like I have, with some of my companies, I have project managers and business managers. They're doing what I could be doing, which is being stuck in the engine room. I'm the admiral of the fleet now, because being the captain, that's great. But now I'm the admiral of a whole load of assets that are running 365. And that's what everyone listening to this should consider themselves as their goal, is to have many assets doing and building revenue, building up your kind of capital, and allowing you the freedom to do more. Because what we talk about being unhustled is being able to do what you want, when you want, and have the resources, time and money, to actually do it. And it's kind of very similar to what you were saying earlier on, is it's the same kind of mantra, but it allows you then to focus on what's more important.
Yeah, and there's something about that freedom. I remember just being able to go with my kids on a field trip. Something as simple as being like the only dad on the field trip when there's moms, right? And looking around and realizing like this is where it's at. Like this is one of those moments there. So we've talked about being able to put together the systems, right? Which I think that everyone should focus on building out the right systems, regardless of if you're just starting with Kindle publishing or online marketing, or if you've got like a dry cleaners business, right? That's a brick and mortar business. Put together those systems. Rewind this, listen to some of the things that Sean has talked about. And at the end of this, I'm actually going to ask you about a couple of your favorite books and resources and things like that as relates to systems. Because I got a feeling that you've got some really good ones there. All right, I don't want to get to that yet, but we'll talk about that. So, and then once you've got those systems in place, the next thing is, how do they scale this stuff? Because the systems are, I liken it to like McDonald's, right? You can take the guy who has the 7th grade education and you put him on a fry machine. You also take the guy who has the PhD, you put him on a fry machine. The fries come out the same, right? Regardless of who's working them. So McDonald's has mastered systems, and then they've mastered scale. So let's talk about that. What's next when it comes to scale?
Well, I go through what I call the sculpt process. You can set up a system, any system in the world. You should constantly be looking for refinement. You should always be looking for efficiency. Now, I talk about the rule of 80-20. And I talk about, it's actually myself and my business partner came up with this, is what we call the 80-20 cubed.
80-20 cube, gotcha.
Now, this is finding the 80-20 of the 80-20 of the 80-20. And what you end up with is something like the 4% of things that you do that's going to get you 50% of your results. That is where you're ultra focused. It helps you really refine down. Now, in doing this, you really want to look at your system. Okay, where are the roadblocks? Where are the inefficiencies? Where are the things that are stopping a scale? Is it price? Is it marketplace? Is it diversification? Where can we go next? Is the system simple enough to stand on its own 2 feet, or does it require too many resources? And where are the limits? Have I got limitless revenue, limitless marketplace, limitless effort and time? So the thing is, always try and look with tomorrow in mind. I'll give you an example. One of the things we're doing is client acquisition. Now, client acquisition is a very broad, it's basically fancy name for lead generation.
Right.
But client acquisition, we're looking at that more for high ticket products. Anything that could be coaches, consultants, experts, any business that has a high ticket product or service. Okay, so where do we go and where's our problem points before we start planning things out? Well, what market do we want to go into? Where are our audience gonna be? What are their big challenges? So we can actually, one of the things to scale is really understanding where you want to go and then what's beyond that. So we usually talk about 2 things. Where am I right now? Where do I want to be in any business or project or what have you? And then if I get there, what's next? And by always looking at the what's next, I'm already 3 steps ahead in understanding what's going to stop me getting there.
Right.
Prime example, just some of these charts behind me. What's to stop the stock market going up right now? What am I looking ahead for? And right now we're in the election cycle at the time of recording this. We also have a rise in COVID-19. So what are the things that are going to stop the market going up? Probably a little fear and uncertainty. But what happens when that fear and uncertainty, or the nervousness and volatility, as we call it in the market space, what's going to happen when that stops? So I'm always asking those questions and those problems anticipating those problems allow me to plan in advance so that I can scale. We were talking about webinars earlier on. Okay, am I going to be limited? If the subject of this one webinar is going into a limited pool of possible customers, I'm not going to scale very far. Yeah. If that pool is small, okay, then do I need to expand it to play in a bigger pool where there's new customers coming in all the time? This relates to Kindle publishing as well. If I'm creating a Kindle asset that's talking about the art and science of cat herding, it's going to be a very small market.
You've got 7 people that want that, right?
Yeah, there's going to be a very small group. Yeah. And, professional cat herders, I think, is a very limited industry. However, if I'm talking about keto weight loss,
yeah,
and if I'm talking about the carnivore diet, which is something I've got into recently myself and lost a lot of weight with it, then, there's always going to be people who want to lose weight.
You open it up to millions of people long term. Like, I've got weight loss books that I published 11 years ago that are still making me money to this day. It's insane.
And I'll tell you this, and probably you don't even know this, I haven't told you this, but many, many years ago, Ty told me, and I've got to say this has got to be at least 8 years ago. When Ty was telling me about Kindle publishing and everything else, I actually hired some people in the Philippines at scale to create a whole load of books. And one of them was a weight loss book, which is still selling today. Yeah. I completely forgot about it. Every now and then, I haven't done it for years. Don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not going to say I'm a Kindle publishing expert in any way. I did it as an experiment. I hired a whole load of writers for like 2 months. We knocked out about 12 books. Yeah. And they are very small, very short. They all go to an affiliate product that still exists, which amazes me, but I did put it through a redirect link. But it still makes me money today. And it was one of the weight loss ones that was only a 30-page, basically elongated article, in all fairness. But it was talking about what was called at that time the paleo diet. Yeah, it was one of the things. And we were focusing on that. It was a fancy article that lasted 30 pages with big bold text and went to an affiliate article. It still sells today.
I'm willing to guess that, like, those 12 books that you published, they weren't about subjects that you were passionate about or that you fell in love with, right?
I had no bloody idea about a single one of them, and I did that deliberately. Because I didn't want to be personally committed to them. I wanted to be indifferent to them. Yeah. And, you don't remember this probably, but you sent me a whole metric F-ton of DVDs back in the day. It was an entire box set of your training.
It's probably the original version of this. This was an updated version here.
Yeah.
But it was probably the
it was the red case were the ones that you sent me as a gift.
Yep.
And I went through them all. I'm like, this dude's onto something here. And so I gave it a shot. What the hell? And like I said, I haven't looked at them for years. I couldn't tell you the URLs. I'd have to go look up the names of them because I don't even remember them. But they're still out there today making me money. And as crazy it is, I haven't had the wherewithal to go and pursue that in any greater depth, but bloody works. And you know what? Set and forget years ago. I got to say it's at least 8 years now.
That's a beautiful thing. But it goes back to not falling in love, like not having that emotional attachment to it, right? And I teach that in digital publishing, Kindle publishing. Is like, where's the money at? Like, it's okay if you're going to publish a couple of books around what you love, right?
People talk about turning your passion into profit, and I say expletive on that one, because if you want to be an investor, that's great if you want to do one thing because you're passionate usually about one thing.
Yep.
If you want to be the investor mindset is, where's the asset? Is it generating me a return on investment? That's it. I've got businesses that I have absolutely no interest. They're the most boring damn things on the planet. Trading is one of the most boring topics on the planet.
But making money is not.
But making money is not. That's right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
And trading should be boring. But if it's making money, that's all good for me. That's exactly what it is. It's because what you can do with that money, that's where the passion is.
Yeah. Yes. 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 I'm having the most amount of fun doing the boringest damn thing ever, right? But it helps with all of these other things that are extremely fun. So you mentioned like looking towards tomorrow, right? Or working with tomorrow in mind. I think that's brilliant. I think it's so simple. Why don't more people do that? Like, why don't more people think about not only where do they want to go? Because that's where most of us are at. Like, we're thinking about where do we want to go, but we seldom think about like what's next, like what's after that. Why don't people think to that degree when it's so simple to do?
That's a great question. I would have to say it's the investor mindset. It's not so much, we're very blinkered, we're very short term, and I was in this state as well, is we're always worried about tomorrow. Okay, what's going to be, okay, what are we going to do this month to generate the rent or the mortgage? What are we going to do today that's going to pay the bills? Or, hey, we're getting ready for Christmas. Oh, what are we going to do to do that? Or, oh, it's Halloween tomorrow, or it's Thanksgiving coming up. We're always looking at the short term. You know, a lot of people have been freaking out about 2020, which rightly so. Hey, it's been a kick in the unmentionables for a lot of people this year. A lot of businesses have struggled and everything else. But I'm like, well, okay, 2020's happened. Let's assume the worst, plan accordingly. Let's plan for the best and plan accordingly. And what's 2021 and onwards? What's going to be on the other side of this? Where's the opportunity? And I think that is the question everyone should ask, is where is the opportunity? And what you can do, and it's a concept a lot of people haven't really heard of. They've heard of being stoic, but there's a concept called stoicism, which is always looking for what could go wrong and plan accordingly. Now, it sounds very negative because everyone's like, oh, always be positive. But Stoics, they look at the positive and the negative and plan accordingly. So you don't get caught short, that you can plan for contingencies, and then you can adapt and then take it to the wider scope. What a lot of people get caught with is they get caught in the negatives rather than anticipate them.
Yes.
And the problem is that creates a lot of fear and uncertainty and a lot of reactivity rather than planning ahead. So being reactive rather than proactive and not asking, okay, if this happens, where's the opportunity? That really can limit people and keep them in the quicksand. But when you think 3 steps ahead, or you, and this is going to sound woo-woo, it really isn't. But
I'm all about woo-woo.
Well, one thing that I do every day is I do a little exercise, a little 30-minute exercise. I sit in this chair, I'll probably crank on some music, and I just think about the future. I think about, okay, if this happened, what if, and this is what I call it my what if time. And I'll think about different scenarios. I'll think about different things. And if that comes to pass, what will I do? And I do this little kind of putting myself, and this is one thing I do is 1, 3, 5.
Right.
What in a year, in 3 years, in 5 years. Now, what this does is it not only it really is a thought exercise, but it makes you think about possibilities. And as you're focusing on that future, you'll start seeing the signs all around you that's pulling you towards that plan that you, even if it's a plan you haven't thought of in a couple of months, you'll start seeing the signs of opportunity. You'll start seeing the signs of, like, for example, Ty and I are going to be doing some training together for, like this, and for different audiences and things like that. But just in talking with Ty here, it's reminded me about the Kindle assets. And I've been meaning to write a couple of books of my own on topics, which again, this could then extend a conversation between myself and Ty about marketing with Amazon Kindle and what is the situation right now. So I'll probably have another conversation with Ty. But again, it was in the back of my head. It was one of those, what if I do a book? What if I do that in this industry? And then coincidentally, reconnected with Ty very recently, reminded me I've already got some Kindle assets. Maybe I should have a conversation. So it's one of those things that when the sign is there, or the opportunity presents itself, it raises a little flag in the back of your head. It's already kind of pre-programmed to that future to say, ask the question, don't forget about it. Or what if, And then what happens is as you focus on those things, those opportunities become more probable. Or if, a conversation between myself and Ty, and he goes, well, this is the state of play, this is what the industry is doing, and it doesn't fit in with my plans, then that tells me, okay, that idea I had, put it to the back burner, bring something that gives now capacity for something else.
Right.
So it's a great kind of mental sorting process and exercise. But that little 30-minute what if future pacing allows me to think about opportunities, ideas. It's kind of like a fine filter and sort ideas and opportunities, so you can focus on the one that's most likely to produce the future result you want.
Yeah, and asking those questions, there's just something magical about asking questions, right? That opens up your mind. And that's very much what you're doing with your morning routine that you have here, right? You're turning on the music to put you in this different state. And I'll do that as well. If I wake up, like we always wake up, not always, but some of us, we will wake up in the wrong state some mornings, which is very natural. And I'll turn on some music, right? I might turn on whatever it may be. But asking the questions, that opens up your mind. I think that if you make a statement, right, you kind of close off the mind. But when you ask a question, you open up the mind. So, hey, Sean, this was amazing. I've got so many other questions that I want to ask you. I'm sure that the audience has a ton of other questions that they want to ask you. But I also want to be courteous of your time as well. Folks, we're going to have to get Sean back for part 2. As he just mentioned, him and I are doing a special training together. It'll probably take place by the time this gets released. But if you guys want to go in and watch it, which I highly recommend you do, number one, go over to Ty Cohen, TyCohen.com/Sean, SEAN. All right, Sean, I do have your name spelled right?
Yes, you do. Yeah, you're good.
So TyCohen.com/Sean, SEAN. I know like so many Seans and everyone spells it differently.
Absolutely.
So, but folks, watch this training, and I'll give Sean a couple of seconds to kind of explain what the training is about, because I want you to hear about the beauty of this directly from his mouth. We're going to make this available for a while, but not forever. So TyCohen.com/Sean. And then here's the other thing. Don't forget about the amazing prizes that you guys can win. I'm not going to lug all of this stuff out, but we've got thousands and thousands of dollars worth of Apple gear that you can win, as well as some cool Amazon gift cards that I actually forgot to mention at the very beginning. But we've got some gift cards in the denominations of $25 to $500 that you can win by going in and subscribing to the podcast or YouTube channel, by commenting on this interview. He just shared so much about scaling, about mindset, about having brass balls when it comes to pricing. We didn't even talk about that, right? But he went from like $47 to $97, and he's like, that will someone pay, $5,000 and $10,000? So that alone is another entire interview. So if you want me to bring Sean back, go in, comment Sean, SEAN. As a matter of fact, let's make it fun. Comment more Sean, right? Remember the old commercial back in the day, more pork sausages, mom, or whatever it was. More Sean. Comment more Sean. We'll get Sean back for part 2. Sean, let's talk about this special training that you and I are doing together. It's actually next week, right? So
yes, absolutely.
It's next week as of this recording, but it will be live by the time this interview hits. So TyCohen.com/Sean. Go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be sharing one of my systems to create a 6-figure business selling high-ticket services where it's all done for you. See, one of the things that we do is we have a very powerful team that build, like we talked about here, that has a system that gets me clients all day long. Well, there's so many businesses right now that are struggling, especially with all this COVID stuff and uncertainty in the markets. Businesses that need customers, they need leads. So what we're going to show you is a 3-step blueprint for creating instantly a high-ticket product that you can sell, and you only need 4 clients to have a 6-figure business. So we're going to show you basically, if you want to create a real online business in what we call an unhustled method, which means, again, being able to do what you do or what you want when you want, and have the resources, time and money to do it. I'm going to show you how we do that with our private clients, how you can create a six-figure business by providing services and have someone else do all the hard work for you. We'll also show you how to do it yourself, because that's maximum profit. But how you can then scale that to a $500,000 a year business or beyond, including we'll even show you how to turn it into a seven-figure business. Basically, you scale it wherever you want to do it. But it's also an opportunity to partner with me in a very special pilot program that we're putting together that I'm opening up just for Ty here. We're taking a few people under our wing and showing them exactly step by step, click by click, how to create a virtual agency selling high ticket services to businesses that can actually afford it, and how you can create, like I said, a six-figure business online and have pretty much someone else do all the hard work for you.
Yeah, guys, you're gonna love this. All right, Sean is a man of honor. He's someone who knows this stuff, as I'm sure you can tell by just watching this interview here. You know, one of the things that I don't talk about much, Sean, because I like to have Kindle cash flow be the main thing, but I also have a high ticket coaching program. I actually have two of them, and just from one of them, right, I generate no less than $100,000 a month. Now, I usually don't put those figures out there because a lot of people, because of mental things and other stuff that we're dealing with, don't believe that those numbers are possible. But folks, listen, what Sean is going to share with you with high ticket marketing, having a high ticket service, is something that I recommend everyone do. When I put together my high ticket programs, I had to learn everything from the bottom, right? I had to put it all in place myself. I didn't have someone like Sean who already has the systems, who has the plans in place, and who's basically giving you this, right? So take a look at it. Go over to tycohen.com/Sean. Look at it with an open mind, no judgment. And if you really want to make something happen in your life at the next level, this is an opportunity for you to get in. Sean, with that said, this was great. I appreciate having you. We've got to definitely do this again, and I look forward to our webinar next week.
Absolutely. Yeah, guys, and just one last thing is, this is high ticket recurring revenue. Sell it once, get paid again and again. We'll even show you how to create high ticket affiliate commissions in a very, very unique way, including getting paid $1,000 a month just for one sale.
There you go. Recurring. My favorite word, guys.
I thought it might be.
That is my favorite word, right? Creates a lot of jealousy between me and my wife because her name is Melida and she thinks Melida should be my favorite word, but recurring is my favorite word. And then when you add high ticket to it, it becomes explosive. So go ahead, take a look, tycohen.com/Sean. Sean, this was amazing, my brother. I can't wait to get you back, and I can't wait to jump into our training next week.
Absolutely appreciate it. And again, hope you guys have really learned something or got some insights from this, and you've got a notepad full of ideas.